And now we are switching to our next thought-stimulating panel discussion, dear audience, exploring the top secret evaluation criteria from venture capitalists. Our experts on stage will shed light on the often mysterious critical factors that drive their investments decisions, providing unique insights into the world of venture capital. Let's unreveal these hidden dynamics together. Gali, Asaf, Heinrich, Benjamin, and Yorai, it is my great pleasure to welcome you on stage. Yorai, with you leading the panel, let me introduce you to our global audience first. Yorai, you bring deep technology leadership in AI and cyber technology with many years of experience in R&D at 8200, served in the intelligence corps of 8200 for 20 years, leading cyber R&D and special operation. You provide the portfolio teams with AI strategies, view, and execution mentoring. You're involved as a board member or investor in portfolio companies and are a member of the AI Advisory Board in Israel, the Ministry of Education. In your previous role, you served as head of the AI and data science at IDF unit. You founded Stargate, the National Israeli Defense Computer Vision Lab, and the Predictive Intelligence AI Lab, which actually in 2018 was awarded for the Israeli Defense Prize. Welcome on stage, Yorai. Now to you, Gali. You are an executive coach and entrepreneurship lecturer at Reichman University, guiding CEOs, investors, startup founders, and VC entrepreneurs in honing their leadership skills and maintaining balance while scaling their ventures. A trusted sounding board, you facilitate personal and professional growth, empowering individuals to build strong foundation for their venture. You work within the startup ecosystem centers around strengthening leadership skills, enhancing productivity, improving decision-making, and fostering effective communication. A seasoned businesswoman, certified coach, startup advisor, and mother of 3, you embodied an advocate principle of well-being, inner balance, and authentic leadership, enabling both yourself and your mentee to reach their goals. I definitely can learn something from you. Gali, it's our pleasure to have you with us today. Shalom. Betoda. Now to you, Asaf. I'm going to switch into Hebrew, actually. You are an investment director in Israel. You joined Intel Capital in 2018. In your role, you're focused on investing in data analytics and machine learning platforms and applications worldwide. You have been involved in several investments, including Anyscale, Opac, Ottertune, Ponder, and Verta. Before Intel Capital, you were an engineering leading in the Intel AI team, leading multiple machine learning projects to reduce cost and increase revenue, accelerate the process, and improve products. Asaf, welcome on stage to you too. Then we have with us Heinrich, another good friend of ours, actually just around the corner in Zurich. You are the founder and CEO and managing partner of BVV. Your journey with BVV started at the launch of Lücke Corporation, a global trading platform based on blockchain technology. You saw a need for the investment of blockchain activity in the market, and with Lücke and your partners, you set out to create BVV. You have a unique experience as the previous vice president of IBM, co-CEO of ESL, and an active member of the board of Lücke and Skylink. Welcome on stage, Heinrich. Last but definitely not least, Ben, let me extend a welcome to you too and introduce you to our audience around the world. You are the co-founder of Bootstraps Lab, a permanent venture capitalist with a focus on applied AI. For over 7 years, you've actively invested in startups such as AI, Curious.io, Roger.ai, among others. As a serial entrepreneur, you've launched and exited 2 fintech startups, Predia Solutions and Inside Venture. Earlier in your career, you advised CXOs and startups founders on strategy, financing, and M&A as an investment banker, raising over 300 million and closing $5 billion in M&A transaction. Currently residing in Silicon Valley, originally from France, You are a member of AAI and a respected keynote speaker on innovation, technology, investment, entrepreneurship, and an AI global thought leader. Gali, Asaf, Heinrich, Ben, and Yorai, the stage is yours. See you in 30 minutes.
Good evening, and thank you, Dalit, for the warm intro. I'm happy to open this session to discuss and share from the VC investments and so many years of leadership in AI, some perspective of what is going on through our daily life with all this AI and generative AI coming up to our lives. I'm always saying it's like going to the North Pole and then taking out your compass. You know what happens. It keeps spinning around. You have to decide of direction and move forward. The former tools that you used to consider and take with you are no longer relevant. You have to invent new tools, new approaches, new theses, and this is what we want to share and discuss today. So great to be here, and I'm moving straight forward. Well, I think, Ben, you've been in the business for a long time, investing in AI even before others even thought of that direction. Like my own firm, we are holding, the flag of AI, trying to push forward with thesis and ideas. So I would like to start with the past. How is it to lead in AI investment? Before it was a hype. What can we take from your experience? And what are the key lessons that you can share with us?
Yeah, thank you. As if it's been quite a ride. I mean, it's kind of funny now that the world is aware of the capabilities, and frankly, Gen AI is just one thing that the world has been talking about. But at the risk of disappointing people, I think if you're building a company out there, you should not lose sight of the fact that the hardest journey is still. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Don't lose don't lose sight of the fact that at the end of the day, nobody's going to buy your product because you're using AI, right? You need to solve a real world problem. You need to create utility value, and your product market fit and scalable product market fit, I would argue, is still the hardest part of the journey. So things we've learned and we knew early on investing in AI was that narrow AI at the time was absolutely where it was at. You want to focus on things that work well, and you can outcompete the Googles and Amazons of the world 10 to 1 on any given use cases that really focus on, and especially if you put yourself in a context of the workflow of your customers. It's not just an algorithm. It's not just getting accuracy. It's about solving a problem. The number one killer of startups is still team dynamic, and I'm sure Gali would be very happy to talk about that. So that hasn't changed. Some of the core fundamental of investing in disruptive technology have not changed. The team is so important. From the very early stages where we invest in, you see an importance of combining both deep domain knowledge, expertise, and understand what the technology can do. And often these live in different brains. And so that time dynamic, the vision, is extremely important. And of course, the data modes. Can you get access to proprietary data? Because everybody can write software, copy your software, but people can't copy your data or drive the insights that you're going to get from that. So we felt this is always a pretty efficient data mode. And of course, we've always focused on the enterprise. So I'm sure we'll talk a lot about other trends and consumers, and Gen AI is a great place to talk about those things.
Thank you. Well, I think sometimes we all get blamed using the hype, promoting our own, initiatives, and I wonder if AI is a hype, and well, it is a hype. How to look at it? So, Heinrich, it would be great if you can show us how you can, separate between the hype and real substance, and how can you work in a dynamic world where there is a quite thick layer of hype or fashion or whatever phrase you would choose.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, yes, I mean, AI is clearly a hype and it's hyped, but I would say rightly so. I mean, the estimates of the economic impact of AI, they range between 13 trillion and 80 trillion, you know. in around 7 years. And if you look at the world gross domestic product, that is 110 trillion today around. So it is fully justified that we have the hype. And I think we just have to see what is the really business in there, and where can I as an investor, you or we all as investors with our different background invests. And I think there is the expectation that AI develops like some other areas. I mean, I think we have already around today 12, 13,000. Some estimates are 20,000 companies around the world that deserve the tag being an AI company. So it becomes a complexity management exercise. And I think the biggest mistake you could do is that you get, the recommendation from the friend about some cool AI company that he has seen. And in reality, there are already existing like 50 or 100 companies that do the same. And that's what you need to filter out. You need to find the 5 ones that could be the top ones 5 years down the road or 7 years down the road, and you need to see if they are accessible to you. So my biggest advice to see through the hype is to do that exercise and to look for substance. And we heard today earlier in the conference, the substance is about specific access to data, especially having your own model. Substance is also having extraordinary teams. I see so many startups in early stage where the teams are kind of casual occasional teams, and you see others where okay, what this is cool entrepreneurs combined with world experts in an area that with some proprietary IP, and that's already the first ingredient. And I think that's substance that then you explore further.
Thank you. And I think, and Asaf, please help me here. Within the AI hype, we have the generative AI super hype, if I can call it. It's like a more dense hype, and we all kind of feeling that every knock on the door is a new startup with doing something with generating whatever you can think of. And I wonder, Asaf, within that hype, uh, isn't it easier to build AI ventures, with all the tools coming out there with generative AI? It looks like, everyone can do that, every couple of founders, not talking about their quality as business persons, but, they can do anything. You have the platforms, you have the availability. Well, no more IP, no more barrier to entry. Generative AI solved everything. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think first of all, I would like to call it foundation models. Generative AI is one aspect of foundation models. You can do many things, not only generate new data. But the term is generative AI. Now, it's lowered the bar for using models, but it's not necessarily lowered the bar for machine learning product. Like if you look on, we don't have yet public companies that sell an AI product. And if you go and look how many AI company we have in the market that sells beyond $100 million, the number is still low. And I think that, and deep learning is here over a decade. The foundation of generative AI transformer, it's here from 2017, and the breakthrough been done years ago. But we haven't seen a product until ChatGPT appeared. And the reason for that is the ability to build a full stack solution that is off the shelf product and not necessarily a tailor-made solution. So the road from a foundation model algorithm to a full stack product, which is off the shelf, is still very hard.
Great. Gali, you've been engaging with the founders for a long time, and I want your perspective of what happened in the last year. Is something changed with the way founders approach their venture? Is this thing of generative AI and more demand for AI, not only generative? I agree with Asaf here. Is something changed with the culture, with the nature of those ventures, the way they bootstrap their companies, the way they think, with a vision setting. What's on the founders' side of your vision?
So, hi, good evening, Uri and everyone. So yeah, I think a lot has changed in the recent year. First of all, with everything going on in the macroeconomic situation and crisis for every entrepreneurs in the world. And we speak about VUCA environment, like the volatile and uncertain and complex and ambiguous as environment that the founders are living in as a constant. So in the recent year, it's even much more emphasized and stronger, and everything is changing. And I think it changed the things in few manners. So I mentioned few. First of all, when investors are now reaching out to companies and they are actually trying to choose which is the right company to invest in. So I think that even more than in the past, like Ben and Heinrich mentioned, the team that they choose to invest in is very, very, very crucial in the way that they choose them. And if I'll emphasize like 2 points in that manner, is the ability of the teams to be agile and flexible to everything that is going on. And on the other side goes together is their ability to have the learnability and the growth mindset to address all the changes that there are actually, because the environment is changing very, very fast. And what was true yesterday with the pace of the new technology that it changes every time. We had the ChatGPT 3, now it's the ChatGPT 4, and in few more in no time the LLM models will change and evolve. So our ability to keep up the pace and be agile in our mindset and to be elastic, not to be focused or in love too much with the specific direction that we're going, and the ability to change it where it goes, it's very, very important. And that's like where the growth mindset is actually getting in, the ability of us to adapt to the changes. And together with this, also for the investors, when they look on the founders, to really try to see which teams and which founders will have the resilience and the ability over time to be that adaptive and to stand and to go through all those changes. So this is a little bit from that side. And from the sides of the founders, the other side of it is like they are in some kind of a stress. And there are many startups that were working on very deep technologies for the last 3 4 5 years, and all of a sudden came OpenAI and ChatGPT and all the LLMs, and overnight what they focused on and what they worked on is simply not relevant, because there's a new technology that changes everything. So again, those who are not, I like to call it coachable, those who doesn't own this mindset and are not up to make those changes in a very, very high pace, and really not to be too stuck on what they've done so far, to be in love too much with the idea or the direction that they were going to, and to be able to pivot, for example, if they need. This is one thing. And also how they are being more productive in the way that they manage their resources. So I'll be happy to elaborate on this later on.
Thank you. I think one thing that well, I feel from founders is that they are trying to look at us, investors, and try to be more agile to fit exactly into our investment thesis, which we are not quite sure of them.
And you
So
don't
I
know
think
as
this.
well. You also don't know where it will lead and where it will go. So
So I'm always saying it's like dancing, like
Mhm.
from side to side. Just it's a little bit like dancing with the gorilla. You know how you dance with the gorilla, the way she wants or it wants. So let's think who is the gorilla here. I think with the markets down, we are the gorillas. So let's try with the same question for everyone. We'll start with Ben and then Heinrich and then Asaf. I want you give those founders your investment thesis. What exactly is your investment thesis in the age of generative AI in a clear sentence, clear way for them to understand and adjust?
I'll start. Thank you, Yeah, all right. So I think for us, we lead rounds at the seed stage, mature seed, and we've always invested in enterprise AI technology. So we looked at applied AI across 6 vertical. We have thematics, how we see the world evolving and where AI is going to have the massive impact. So future of work, mobility, health, digital infrastructure, financial infrastructure, which we call it different from digital, and then climate and energy. And so these are the 6 kind of core bucket. I would like to call them the pillars of society. As society digitalizes extremely fast, I think we're going to see AI penetrating these sectors and touching a lot of things. As we do so, I think it's extremely disruptive for the enterprise. I think enterprises have dealt with disruption of technology before, but this is unlike others. And why it's unlike others is because it's changing the very core fundamental product and value and services that you're offering today. You no longer manufacture a lamp, you manufacture a smart lamp. And that has deep implication down the supply chain and how you market it and how you position in your business model. And I think that is why most corporations have not really started to understand the disruptive power of AI in that way. So, my investment thesis is, look, you need to be a shepherd of the future. As a founder, you're building the future. And so don't build a future where humans are irrelevant. I think we're very much proponents of AI and human augmented intelligence. I think we can learn from each other. And we've seen that even in the game of Go, where our imagination can be stretched by AI systems and we can become better. So I have this positive vision of the future, but it needs to be built by the people as well. And we need to make sure that generative AI systems, unfortunately, are not to be trusted. And so they are fantastic tools for certain context, but you're going to need to look carefully at the context in which you apply them. Because in the enterprise, we've invested in LLM technologies 7 years ago, one of the pioneers in the industry. And today, he has a product that is using the best of the LLMs world without an hallucination, that is to be trusted and trade on the data that is proprietary from the company and keep it in silos. And so I think, again, people need to be very careful into the context in which they apply AI technology and what vision they have for it.
Thank you. Henrik, your take?
Yeah, we are also an early stage investor, so seed stage. We like the stage when you have your first even small revenue, and then you need to scale up. This is our core competence, is to scale up emerging tech plays, to scale them also up when nobody believes in it, other than a few people and ourselves. Our focus is very clear in deep vertical AI applications, in RegTech, in real estate, in health, and in other sectors, because we believe that fits very well, really a long-term venture model. We believe very strongly in B2B SaaS models, because B2B SaaS models, especially in Europe, have as an investor, a much better risk reward profile than pure B2C model. Last but not least, we like to find the last pieces of infrastructure in this evolving ecosystem of infrastructure and middleware in the AI space. And then comes the icing of the cake. I believe very much if you merge that a little bit with Web3 business models, because I think Web3 business models can be applied in that space, and we know it from companies like Render, could create very cool startups that we are very interested in.
Definitely. Asaf, a little bit about your thesis and how to invest in AI, where.
So we are an investor in mainly B2B. Sweet spot is Series A and Series B. That's 80% of our investment, but we do as well seed round. Then we invest in several foundation models company already in the last several years. I think my recommendation to entrepreneurs are think of foundation model generative AI as a database. There is no one database that the company use. There are many specific database target for different use cases, different types of database, scale, and pace. So we think the foundation models will be like that. There will be many specific foundation models. Find the one that suits you, bring it on, and build a solution that is hybrid and combine multidisciplinary between controlling the foundation model, ability to update it and control it, and not only use external available data, together with building on top of it all the layers that any AI solution need, like APIs and prompting and fine-tune and retraining, and at the end supply a solution that solves a business problem. And that's our recommendation to. And it's hard to see like solutions like ChatGPT that are Swiss Army knife that can do 15 different things, but at the end, their cost, even the compute cost, is huge. So you need to reduce the compute cost. And in order to do that, you need to decrease the algorithm, decrease the compute, and fine tune the model and build the layers on top that actually encapsulate the models itself. I think what foundation models bring is bringing more software developers ability to build solutions like that on top, because not everyone need to train from scratch. But training, it doesn't mean that we don't need to train anymore and fine tune models.
Thank you. Gali, it looks like investors are recalculating route, considering their investment thesis. So maybe you can help us with the psychological side of those investments. Opportunities are relevant to how human evolution is taking AI, and what are the psychological influences on those theses. And I would like to hear from your side, what could be important to understand and to look at when you're approaching an investment, when you investigate uh, kind of a solution. How could you take into consideration those psychological themes that AI brings to the table with clients, with go-to-market side, and so forth?
Yeah. So it's a big question. It has many elements in it, and I'll try to like mark a few things that I think are important. So whether you're an investor that thinking about now to invest in a company, and whether you are the CEO, the founder yourself that is actually building now the company, I think that because of the technology and because of the big potential that it has, and because of also the big risks that it entails in it. So there are a few factors that we have to consider as human beings, okay? Because we are still human beings and this is still AI. So few things are going, I'll mark here trust, and I'll mark here the things around the ethical questions, and maybe around the user experience. So I'll touch base those three topics. So trust, you can trust is the most fundamental thing between founders, and I think it's also the most fundamental things between the investors and the founders themselves, and also between the team and the startup to the users. So the question is, how do we make sure that this trust is not going anywhere, and that everything is is with full accuracy and transparency, and how we can really see all the things that are reliable, okay, that we're taking it into consideration. And this is something very important, because with a lot of data sources, which also takes us to the ethical considerations, so many data sources that we need to see that we bring them from the right places. That one of the problems, for example, with the ChatGPT is that, okay, it gives you a great answer, but it's not necessarily the right answer, and we have to be very critic to understand if the answer that we've got is the right one, and if it took into consideration all the right elements towards it, because otherwise the product or the result that we will provide is actually not true, although it sounds very, very convincing. So ethical questions also goes to the databases and the decision making, that we make into this thing. And I think that as the founders needs to see again the transparency and the fairness of the things, and to really give the users, the customers, the understanding that they can trust the product, trust the service, this thing. I think that maybe also it has to do a lot with the social dynamics, all the social dynamics within the startup, within the team, and also how it impacts the social dynamic of society. I think that the generative AI solutions and products that we have today, maybe I'll emphasize it on one thing that it's really close to my heart. All the issues around mental health, which is one of the biggest problems that we have nowadays for humanity, loneliness and mental health issues. So using generative AI technologies can really help in many manners to provide more tools and to replace several levels of treatment and therapy, and to help in several elements that can really make a difference for people. But what happens later on? You know, what happens in a everyone here? Yeah, okay, it disappeared for a second. How do we make sure that we really provide the right help and the right support, and that really, for example, in mental health, that the tools that we provide to the social dynamic is really true and is really helping people and not going to another places. So these are things that I think we should take into consideration while think these products and things. And on another note, when we think about, for example, empathy, okay, one of the things that the generative AI and the ChatGPT is now trying to work very hard to figure out, which still differentiate us as humans from the machine, is really how we incorporate empathy and psychological aspects into the wording, into the experience, to really make the users feel that it's real. Now, on the one hand, it's great, and on the other hand, it's risky, because what will be the difference if we will succeed to implement everything? So I think that to sum it up, I think that we need to be very creative and be very grateful for all the opportunities that we have now with this technology, but to know its restrictions and to see how we take care of humanity and the users and ourselves as founders, to have the right constraints that we need in order to get to the right places.
Thank you. I think you mentioned not only the psychological part, but also the ethical related to privacy and honesty and the way we can work with those platforms. And I wonder, and maybe Asaf, you mentioned you are focused on enterprise solutions. Sometimes the enterprise, you get pushbacks, you get all kinds of barriers, not only the ethical and the privacy, but also some others. I would like to hear from you. What are the barriers that you see when trying to promote enterprise focused venture with generative AI and AI together?
I think the first thing that we see around enterprise is the need for explainability. When a generative AI solution gives some kind of a response or recommendation, you need to state where the data come from and why he gave this data. So definitely explainability is needed. We've seen it, by the way, not only from generative AI, even 2 decades ago when we implemented machine learning solution. People are willing to tolerate human mistakes that are accurate in 50%, but less tolerate for a machine mistake that's accurate in 80%. And that's why explainability is a must in the enterprise. We need to explain why we gave this recommendation and give the data behind it. I already mentioned the need to fine-tune for enterprise data. Yes, there is a lot of power in those foundation models that learn from the general available, especially languages, but we want to optimize for a specific use case. And let's, for example, you want to give technicians in the manufacturing floor able to ask questions on machines and bugs and how to fix that. That's not exist in the B2C world. Multimodality is also an issue. Not everything is text. We have tables, we have images. We need to extract knowledge from that. And enterprise at the end will need it in a containerized way. How do you put everything in one container, deploy it, and make it run everywhere, which means on-prem, on cloud, in a highly efficient way. And cost is a high high in the consideration, because those models are highly costly for inference, and it's need to have an ROI.
Thank you very much. And I think we are short in time. So I want to give each and every one of you 30 seconds to give his crystal ball angle and vision. How are we going to see AI in 20 years from now? So we'll start with you, Gali. 20 years from now, what is going to change?
Wow. First of all, I think we have 10 seconds for everyone, so I'm not sure that we have the time. But a lot, I don't know what's going to change. A lot is going to change. And I think that we need to be able to change with the change.
Great.
I think our imagination is the limit.
As a 20 years in the business, I will say that it will go slower than we think.
I agree with that. It will go slower than we think, but I think it's nearly impossible to imagine what will be in 20 years. It will be crazy. That's what I think.
So,
I agree.
well, let's stay tuned, right?
Crazy good, Heinrich.
Crazy good, of course, crazy good. Because I also trust that lawmakers will come up, and they do already in the EU, with some regulation, with transparency requirements, and I just hope that that will go in a way that we get the good from the technology and keep the bad a bit under control.
And Gali, I'd be careful with using ChatGPT for mental health.
Anyway, thank you very much. It was wonderful, and I learned a lot, and it was great to meet. Hope to meet you in face-to-face soon. So please take care, and see you in I don't know, 20 years.
Hopefully much sooner. Hopefully much sooner. But before you're leaving, Yorai, also
Not
you,
less than 20 years.
also you as an expert, Yorai, I would like to have a final quote from your side.
Well, I gave it on the beginning. You know, when you are so advanced and you already reach your North Pole, your compass is spinning around. This is the time where you can look for new opportunities, new challenges. And I think this is where we all are with AI and generative AI. And it was fun discussing it. I'm open to questions anytime.
Okay, so Gali Asaf, Heinrich, Ben, and Yorai on the top secret evaluation criteria from venture capitalists. It was great to have you all with us, sharing your insights, and the chat is going really good. So, dear audience, reach out to our panelists with your question, connect with them on LinkedIn. I'm really thrilled how this is going on. So, have a great summer. Take care and hope to see you very, very soon, also personally. Shalom v'toda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dalit.